posting and sharing false information. This added to the success of this operation. We are truly thankful to all of you. In the days ahead, we will announce our plans in collaboration with the families.
What will be the program activities relating to the funeral and other arrangements? As mentioned before by Ms. Ferguson, we will give an outline of the operations, and my officers here will continue with that. Chief of Staff, all of the staff, fellow senior officers, members of the media. Morning.
I am Lieutenant Colonel Ramjag, the Commanding Officer of the Air Corps. What I will do first, I'll give an overview of the flight. The flight that was conducted the day the accident occurred. For a quick orientation, so for ease of understanding, where you're standing is more or less east, to my side is west. On Wednesday, December the 6th, 2023, one of the Guyanese Defense Force Bell 412 EPI helicopter departed Ghana on a mission. Now, the intent of this mission was to go to Arrow, and if you recall, recently a flag was erected here to reaffirm our territorial integrity, demarcate our western boundary. The flight departed Ghana at 0924, all timings here are local, 0924 for a title stop at Olive Creek. The flight route is shown there, Ghana, the blue arrows to Olive Creek, a distance of approximately 144 miles. The aircraft got there at 10:37. If you do the maths, that's a lapse time of approximately an hour and 30 minutes. The aircraft stopped there, refueled, and at 10:58 hours, departed Olive Creek for Arrow. Now, if you know there, the flight route or the intended flight route is shown in dashed yellow. That distance is approximately 58 miles. If you're familiar with the way pilots fly, the ideal route is a direct routing. However, on this day, the pilot deviated to the right or to the north, and that could be for many reasons. Right. Deviated, and whilst en route, contact was lost with the aircraft in the vicinity of the Blake Slater Aerodrome. The red icon there shows that location. That location is a distance of 38 miles from Olive Creek to the site. On receipt of this signal, ELT stands for Emergency Locator Transmitter, that was received at the time shown there, 11:19. And that signal is automatically triggered when the aircraft is subjected to extreme G forces. On the initiation of that signal, or the receipt of that signal, search and rescue operation was launched. The actions were initiated. That includes activation of our response capability, the establishment of the Rescue Coordination Center at the Timeri Control Tower. That includes members of the Guyanese Defense Force, mainly from the Air Corps, members of the Guyanese Civil Aviation Authority, and other agencies, to establish the operational flow to seek and establish the whereabouts of the aircraft. At this juncture, I'll pause and ask the Staff Officer 1, General 3 to provide some more operation details. I will come back and give you some more insight into the actual search and rescue. Colonel Pompey.
Morning.
Morning.
On Wednesday, helicopter 8 Romeo Alpha Yankee Alpha departed base camp Ghana, and the mission of that flight was a command visit and to take a small resupply of ration to the troops on the locations. The locations were Arrow, Makapa, and location Etrema. On that said day, at approximately 11:20 hours, we received a signal from the emergency locator transmitter. Upon verification, the Special Forces launched a search and rescue operation. And while they were at Lake Slater airstrip in Region 7, on 2 attempts, they failed to reach the crash site because of the bad weather. And on Wednesday, the operation was suspended. The operation resumed on Thursday morning, and again, after 2 attempts, we were able to insert one of the team 0.8 miles away from the crash site, after which we inserted 2 rescuers with a Omni helicopter. They were inserted with medics and also rationed for the survivors. And as we attempted to extract them on Thursday, bad weather again prevailed. So the rescue team and the rescuers spent the night at the crash site with the 2 survivors and the deceased. On Friday, we were able to continue the mission even though we had bad weather, and we extracted 2 survivors first, the 5 deceased, the rescue team, all of which were extracted via the GDF helicopter, a Romeo Mike India Alpha, via winch. They were all winched out of the crash site, flown to Blake Theatre airstrip, and then transported to Georgetown with the GDF Islander and Skyvan. Presently, we have a rescue team at Blake Slater who will be extracted today. This operation encompasses 3 rotor-wing aircraft, 3 helicopters, and 7 fixed-wing, total of 10. And we had assistance from the regional security system, Omni helicopters, Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, Air Services Limited, Trans Guyana, the Ministry of Health, in particular the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, and a rescue coordination center was established in Temeri that assisted in the coordination of the rescue effort. In total, approximately 60 persons through various agencies coordinated this operation. So we were able to bring home survivors and the deceased. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Nigel Langhorn, the Force Medical Officer, Guyanese Defense Force. Now, to support this operation, on Thursday, a medical team was inserted into the general area of operation. We established a staging area at the Blake Slater airstrip. Now, this team was comprised of myself, Dr. Isan Reed, who's a major in the Guyanese Defense Force as well, Dr. Ivor Semple, along with 3 medics, namely Medic Sabola, Medic Murray, and Daniels. Now, upon arrival at the location, 2 of our Special Forces medics were inserted into the area close to the crash site, as indicated by the G3. And they spent the night there with the survivors. They were able to give us real-time, information or updates as it relates to the health status of the survivors. And of course, provide first aid and other general support to the survivors. Now, on the following day, that is yesterday, we were able to extract the survivors, and further assessment was done at Lake Slater airstrip, where we were located, and they were then transported to Ogle Airdrome. Now, all of this would have been done with the support by the staff of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, namely Dr. Box from the ER department. We had Dr. Rahaman, that was assisting, and Dr. Mahendra Karpen, who's also a reserve military officer. Now, as it relates to the status of the survivors, from the inception, there was indication that they were in good general condition. However, upon further examination, namely at Georgetown Public Hospital, we were able to confirm their, what is actually going on with them, and I'm happy to report that there was no injury of significance as per se. They're all in good general condition. I had a visit this morning, and by then they were able to fully examine, do all of the scans and so forth. I had a visit and a talk with the survivors this morning, and they're all in good spirits. Their families are alongside them, supporting them as well at this point. Thank you.
Now, what I attempt to do here is to give some more details into the actual search and rescue. There are lots of speculations, assumptions, and I wish to clarify that. I hope at the end of this, I will succeed somewhat. Now, if you recall my earlier brief, I mentioned that the ELT signal was received by Timber Control Center at 11:19. Immediately, as the commander of the Air Corps, I was notified. I informed my chief of staff, my current general staff, and also the Director General for the Civil Division Department. The Skyvan was at Timiri, and that was prepped to commence search and insert search team. Now, I must say, in aviation, whenever there's a distress signal, the report is received. It's a four-pronged approach. Right. Locate, you assess, insert, and extract. And that is exactly what was done. The Skyvan was dispatched. I myself took command of the aircraft along with my team, with support of my flight operation, and we got to base Slater around 40 minutes after. You may ask why, but weather at Slater was bad. Prevailing weather condition prevented an order dispatched. However, an aircraft was at Arishing Airstrip in the Guyanese Mazruni, just off of Olive Creek, and that was dispatched. Captain Orlando Charles, I wish to express thanks and gratitude for his expeditious response. He did that, and he got airborne at 11:30. He went overhead, but because of bad weather again, he could not come down. The elevation of the crash site is 3,000 feet. He cannot get down. Skyvan got there, and immediately en route, I attempted to do a survey. Again, I couldn't get down because of low cloud coverage. I want to illustrate that. We can see this is a topographical map that gives you an idea of the topography of the terrain. If you understand our geography, you can see the contour lines there, where the crash site is. Right. what you've seen here is the escarpment face in the Mazaroni. Who understand the country's geography, we have the escarpment in the Mazaroni that runs all the way from the Etterimbang area down into Madio, a sheer rock face with numerous mountains called the Pacaraimans. The contours of the cross side are very steep. Very close, they indicate a steep rise. Skyvan did the survey there, and I want to show you the weather. Let's get from there. Slideshow, please. Yes. What you see in there, where the helicopter is, that is the west side of the escarpment. Where the clouds are, that's the east side, and the clouds are just on the face. Another illustration, that's again, we couldn't go down, because you can't go down if you can't see. All right, don't endanger yourself. The first mission of the rescue is to preserve yourself. All right. During the attempt to locate the site, or to examine the site, on the day when the Skyvan got overhead, we couldn't go down. So a landing was made at Blakeslater. The troops they were put off, and again, myself and two of my officers, we boarded a Trans-Guyanese aircraft, and the service commenced for 30 minutes. Right? Again, bad weather for that day. For the entire day almost, low coverage prevented us from getting low to make a careful or keen assessment. So our attempt to get low to locate the site was not successful. The helicopter was asked to flown in because of time and space and the lateness. That was not done. The following day, Thursday, the helicopter was flown in. Skyvan again was flown in, along with other private sector aircraft, Air Services, Trans-Guyana. And again, I want to extend profound gratitude and appreciation to these operators, Trans-Guyana, Air Services, and Captain Orlando Charles. And also for Trans-Guyana, they hosted us at Lake Stato. It's a private aerodrome, and they were very hospitable, thanks to Trans-Guyana. Fortunately, on Thursday, the weather was a bit more cooperative. And the service commenced as early as sunrise by Captain Charles. He's based in Narashing, so he was able to dispatch early. Along with the Skyvan we got there, Skyvan and the Islander joined the search. And we searched. The Bell 412 came in, and being a Bell 412 a helicopter, he can do a more probing search. That was done. And thanks to my operation manager, Lieutenant Colonel Wicks, the party command of that helicopter, they located the crash site. Right? Not an easy feat. It's a needle in a haystack because of these trees are massive, and a crash we know is quite tiny. That was done, and during his flyby, he recognized your personnel waving, so we intensify our effort. That motivated everybody. That extra push. We came back, and the search team was inserted. Right? And that was a very intricate and delicate mission. I was there myself, and we had our blades spinning mere inches from trees. That was done. 7 personnel were inserted, and they made an assessment. Contact was established, and I must say, they were inserted 0.8 miles from the site. We couldn't go closer because of numerous limitations, limiting factors. They trekked from that point where they were inserted to crash site, and they made an assessment and gave us an update. Thereafter, we attempted again to do the recovery, but again, bad weather prevented that. Yesterday was much better, and the mission to recover the survivors and the deceased, that was successful.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of questions or information surrounding what we just said. There is a phase now we are going into, which is the investigation phase. and that is outside of the remit of the Guyana Defense Force. We will now have the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, along with the Guyana Police Force, will conduct their investigation. Because we are part of this operation, we will have to provide the information to those investigators. The process has already started. We have handed over a number of items to the Civil Aviation Authority, and the police also has commenced their investigation. For this particular press conference, we will only state what we know, and I would request that we wait on that investigation to be completed. In this period, I want to remind that we have an imminent threat to our territory. And this particular flight to the border was a command mission to visit our troops, not only around, but also Iteringban and Makapol. I cannot express how saddened we are that these officers sacrifice service, their lives, in giving what this force has been doing for the past 58 years to this nation. We are doing what our predecessors would have done, and we will continue to do this to protect Guyana and to protect the people of Guyana. I thank you for being here this morning.
Okay, now on questions. Travis Chase. We'll start with Travis Chase, please. And then Mr. Chabrol.
Morning, Travis Chase, HGP 19 News. Can you say if Black Slater, I believe this is a
Blake
Slater is at the Caribou, right? Is it government or privately owned district? One. Two, you said that OMI helicopter assisted in the Omni event. Who owns that helicopter?
All right, I'll ask the ECO.
Respond to the first question. Blake Slater is a privately owned airstrip by TransGuyana. And that's 5 miles from the crash site. Omni is a Canadian-owned company conducting operations for ExxonMobil.
Thank you.
Brigadier General Chabrol, sir, could you say whether the survivors have been debriefed, that's one, and have they been able to say why the aircraft diverted from the prescribed route? And secondly, through you to Mr. Ramjal, to what extent can the navigational aids aid the pilot to ascertain whether he was coming up close to the escarpment? I understand it's a very sophisticated helicopter, and the aids provide any guidance to the pilot in this regard, so he could have taken evasive action?
Thank you for that question, Ms. Shafler. For the first one, we wanted to have the examination, the medical examination of the survivors done first as a priority. The debriefing of those 2 survivors will be done by the investigators. We will have a further update on that as the investigation unfolds. On the second one,
Yes, to answer the second question, in my opening brief, my first brief, the helicopter is the Belfort Valve EPI. EPI means for Enhanced Performance Integrated Electronics. Yes, it's a very advanced helicopter made by Bell. And they are flight instruments or instrumentation to 8 pilots. I don't want to speculate at this time, but the aircraft is equipped with what we call a CVFDR, a cockpit voice flight data recorder, that will capture all voice communication and also flight data details, or the speed, altitude, etc. When that is examined, the question that you asked will be answered.
But I don't think you answered the question. Can it aid in identifying any obstructions, my layman language, such as the escarpment, to alert the pilot to take evasive
Yes,
action?
there are devices called TAWS, terrain awareness warning systems, and so forth. These aids or devices, the aircraft is so equipped with them.
Okay, we'll have the reporter from CCMTV6 out of Trinidad, sir.
Thank you, Hassan. Just going back, when the helicopter landed at Olive Creek, was there any communication at that time with the base or with the headquarters, as a conversation perhaps of hesitation to go on, because what was the weather like there? Was there a conversation at that time in terms of communication with the pilot and so on?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Prasad. I would say we will have to investigate, find out what was done in details, and provide same to the investigators. I would want to say at this point in time, while I respect the desire to have all of these information, we want to speak to the right people. We want to talk to the people who are on the ground, the survivors. So we cannot pronounce on that right now. Before the investigators to go to the people who are operating in the aircraft, the survivors, for example, so we have that information.
And what was the weather like at Olive Creek prior to their leaving there to go to Rowan Swamp?
Well, I believe Lieutenant Colonel Ranjag would have mentioned that circling that land an hour after would have been not good. That prevented his land.
Mr. Mosley and then Ms. Johnson.
Gordon Mosley, News Source. Brigadier, could you confirm, one, that based on the assessment so far, that the back of that aircraft might have hit a mountain or some other encumbrance in that area? And could you also say whether there are protocols for the operation of this type of aircraft in bad weather? Because based on what we've heard so far, the rescue teams couldn't get in 45 minutes later because of that bad weather. So can you say if there are protocols regarding that? And finally, sir, could you say the fuel, the refueling of the aircraft at Olive Creek, could you say where's that fuel supplied from? Is it from Guyanese? Is it bought from bordering locations? Where's that fuel supplied from in that area?
Your first question again, that will come out in the investigation. But I will tell you the experience of actually reading the reports coming out on the weather condition. It's interesting how in the next 5 minutes the weather can change or the visibility can change. So we had to be flying in the area every now and then to see what is happening, if there's an opening. And this is what we had to operate in. We don't want to rescue the lives of the rescuer going in. We want to have that clear visibility to ensure that we go and successfully extract those persons. One on the fuel, I cannot answer that.
If I may, just to reinforce my staff answer to weather. Weather is very dynamic. In our operating environment, because of terrain and other terrain features, it changes so often. We had aircraft that was launched aloft just to probe weather, to ensure that there's an opening so we can dispatch the helicopter timely to conduct that search mission. At Olive Creek, when the helicopter landed that morning, it was good, right? But like I say, weather changes so often because of terrain, wind factors, temperature, dew point, all these conditions. Olive Creek, with regards to that question, that's a Transguyana off station, off base, and the fuel there is being delivered from Bowsers. And that's an audit process or a system that is well managed and supervised, right, to ensure that the fuel is sanitized.
Colonel, I would say leave that for the management to answer that question you asked. Yes.
Chief of Staff Julie Johnson, Prime News. I have 3 questions for you. You spoke about the 2 investigations by the police and the
Civil
scene,
Aviation Authority.
what about your own mode of inquiry, which automatically commences when Army personnel are involved in an incident or an accident? That's one. Two, could you say through maybe Colonel Jagman, what was the payload at the time of leaving Olive Creek? We've had several aircrafts in that area crash. Blake Slater was one of them. Could you say what was the payload, and if the additional fuel may have impacted anything at all in that accident? And the third, what about an external explosion that could have caused that crash? Anything of that sort from your people?
Good questions. I will tell you, the Colonel General Staff, we already convened board to be done internally with our own protocols. Certainly this incident has resulted in a loss of lives, and we want to know why also within our own system. So a board of inquiry will be done. For your other two questions,
with regard to payload, no. If you recall, the crew comprised of 3 persons, 2 pilots in the cabin crew, and 4 passengers. And this aircraft, max takeoff weight is 11,900 pounds. We were way below our max takeoff weight on this flight. The other question, the CVR, when that is analyzed, the question you asked will be answered.
Sharda, newsroom.
Brigadier, good morning. Sharda Bacchus from the newsroom. Could you say at this point in time if there's any preliminary information as to what might have caused the accident? And secondly, is there like one individual that was assigned to head the investigation? If yes, could you say who that person is?
which investigation you're talking about?
The investigation into the accident.
Well, we have I don't know, Civil Aviation Authority has their own system, the Ghana Police Force will have their own system, and our internal inquiry will have its own system.
So it's safe to say that there are 3 investigations into the accident?
We will have an internal inquiry in our own protocols. That's a standard operation procedure for any event that occurred in the Canada Defense Force. When there's a loss of lives, and also the involvement of machinery like and equipment like an aircraft, we don't have the expertise, and you have that governing national body that is responsible for those investigations.
And the first question, please.
Forgive me, what was it?
Any preliminary information at this point as to what might have
No.
caused the accident?
We don't have that, and before we have done the investigation.
If there are no other questions, I'll have Travis again and then Mr. Shabro.
Sir, since you talk about, Sharda asked about preliminary investigation, how or if do you plan to extract the aircraft?
Yes. This will be advised later on the investigation as it unfolds.
Or do you plan to?
It will be advised. Be advised. Good.
Brigadier, just a follow-up, please. Could you at least say then what is the state of the aircraft?
You want to pronounce it?
The aircraft is battling point, and there are few remaining parts from. I was not on the actual site, but from report to see.
Where was most of the burn concentrated?
Primarily the fuselage area, meaning the body of the aircraft.
Sir, yesterday at a rally in Caracas, the Venezuelan president said to his people that this was a mission to lower some Venezuelan flag that was raised in the bordering locations. Do you wish to respond to that statement from him? And secondly, sir, I know you said the survivors will be fully debriefed after their medical care and all of that, but they spent the night in the jungle with a medical team, with special forces. They must have said something. Is there a preliminary report from them on what might have happened? And could you say, based on what we've seen so far in terms of the evidence, whether it shows that any of the officers, the members of the board of the aircraft, jumped as it was spiraling down to the ground?
Again, Mr. Mosley, thank you for your questions. Very important. We don't have those details, and I don't want to give you any information that I don't know. I want the investigators to complete this investigation. As much as you are concerned, the Ghana Defense Force is concerned. We do not want something like this to happen again.
Sir,
This
do
is
you
important for us. On the issue of what President Maduro will say, there's a lot of things coming out from that. I don't want to comment on that.
But do you dispel that?
I would say, dispel, he said something.
That no, that he said it was a mission to lower a Venezuelan flag that was raised in an area.
We had a command visit to the border. Command visit means that we are going to visit our soldiers. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving shortly to visit my troops. The mission continues. The mission continues.
But was it to lower a flag?
No, there's no Venezuelan flag on board. None. None. Last week, if I should tell you, I had a meeting with the village captain from Morocco. Very pleasant individual, and one of his councillors. When that information came out that there was a raise or a lowering of a flag, and we were able to communicate to the village that is not so. There's so many things going on social media, and I know we have to be timely in how we respond. But verifying this information, who said what, and what they said, will give us some time before we could respond. And I want the media body to understand that we're happy to get your information. We're very happy. And you're actually our eyes and ears. You have a bigger and a larger network than us in many spheres. So we're happy to have that information from you, but you have to give us some time to respond. You have to verify. But in that particular instance, nothing like that has occurred. I'll take one question.
The other question,
I did not get to
So
ask
we
my
have
question.
somebody who
I
didn't
did not get to
ask,
ask my
or we
question.
didn't have some people who didn't get a chance to ask any question. Could we have that young lady in the back?
Hi, Mia Anthony from Starbuck News. I have 3 questions. The U.S. Southern Command announced overflights of Guyana on Thursday. Are these continuing, and can you say how many aircrafts were involved and the types? Has there been a buildup of Venezuelan troops along any part of the frontier of Guyana? And have you had any discussions with the regional security system on invoking the Common Defense Article if that was necessary?
Thank you for those questions, very important. I will tell you there are a number of things that we are doing. And we are partnering with our several nations that share the same values that we share, democratic, that connect us, and how we can collaborate, where peace and stability of this region is our aim. I will not be able to go into the details of that collaboration at this point in time. Thank you for those questions.
Mr. Pan, could you confirm that yourself and another senior officer were supposed to be on that flight on Wednesday?
There are several flights.
The flight that crashed on Wednesday.
There are several flights that are going into our locations. And we have, for example, 2 days before Colonel Roberts, we had 3 other flights programmed, and we had to reschedule. I'm not too sure what you're asking.
I'm asking if you were to be on that flight that left.
You're scheduled to be on
I am scheduled to go in any flight.
Were you scheduled to leave on that particular flight on Wednesday that crashed, Mr. Pan?
The flight on Wednesday, we were meant to go in. The flight on Tuesday, I was meant to go in. The flight on Friday, I was meant to go in. And the flight today, I meant to go in, which I will be doing.
Sir, is the GDF for thinking how its senior staff and senior officers go out on these missions? Because I understand that the head of national intelligence was part of this rescue mission at a time like this, rappelling down into the jungle. Can you confirm that, and whether that is something that you would want now at this time when there are other officers who can do that work? Why is the head of national intelligence out there doing that?
Mr. Mosley, I will say our force is very versatile. We have different skill sets, and we want to pull the best that we have that could contribute to any mission success. For this particular mission, we did just that. And there are many others who were part of this operation.
Is it a breach of aviation regulation to switch seats if you stop to refuel an aircraft?
That will come out in the
But is it a breach? Do you know if it's a breach?
I don't know.
You don't know? So can you answer them, sir? Do you know if it's a breach of regulation to switch seats?
I don't know the question we're getting at, but
the question is this.
Passengers, when aircraft is loaded, you confirm to us.
Let's wait on the investigation. Again, I respect the appetite for information, but allow us to have the real investigators provide these questions.
Thank you very much.
One question, please. One, please.
Thank you very much.